Hey, what's going on, guys? The Horror Man back with my review of Teenage Sex and Death at Camp MIASMA. Teenage Sex and Death at Camp MIASMA was officially released last week. It's the new film written and directed by Jane Schoenbrun, who previously brought us We're All Going to the World's Fair and I Saw the TV Glow. I reviewed We're All Going to the World's Fair a few years back during the 12 Days of Christmas. I also reviewed I Saw the TV Glow in under a minute. That one was also featured when Jason from Horrific Nightmares JM and I ranked 2024 horror movies. Interestingly, I haven't given I Saw the TV Glow a full review, but I need to remedy that sometime soon. But in this video, I'll be reviewing Teenage Sex and Death at Camp MIASMA. This movie has garnered a lot of buzz, and in a short period of time. That seems to have happened with each of Jane Schoenbrun's films to date. It's as if one day I don't even know it exists, and the next, I can't wait to see it. This one was no exception. Now let me start by saying this. Schoenbrun's movies are proof that you do not need to relate to the theme of a film to enjoy it. And I know for some, the themes would be enough for them to shy away from watching them in the first place. Honestly, with a different filmmaker, that may have been the case for me. I may not be the target audience for the theme of Schoenbrun's work, but as a fan of fantastic filmmaking, I am. I hope others will allow themselves to see it that way too. If not, well, you're the ones missing out. Teenage Sex and Death at Camp MIASMA, like We're All Going to the World's Fair and I Saw the TV Glow, is an allegory. The message or theme of the film is not all that subtle, but it's not in your face either. What I appreciate so much about Schoenbrun's movies is that they allow for various alternate interpretations. I wish other filmmakers possessed as much talent and restraint as Schoenbrun. Many go overboard with their messaging, prioritizing agenda over entertainment. In addition, Schoenbrun's movies capture nostalgia in a way most other filmmakers can't. I Saw the TV Glow, for example, captures more 90s nostalgia than some actual 90s films. Meanwhile, Teenage Sex and Death at Camp MIASMA is a unique take on 80s slashers. And don't let others try to tell you this isn't a slasher film itself, because it is. It's much more than just a slasher, but still a slasher nonetheless. Why do people do that? Every time a slasher film has something else going on, they claim it can't be a slasher. But a movie can be a comedy and something else, or a romance and something else. So why can't a slasher also be something else? This movie is just as much of a slasher film as something like The Final Girls. Similarly, this one includes a movie within the movie, and even more so. Viewers of this film get to watch Teenage Sex and Death at Camp MIASMA, and also the original Camp MIASMA. I mean, not the entire thing, but a very good portion. Put it this way, I could film a full review of Camp MIASMA if I wanted to. For those of you slightly confused, Camp MIASMA is the slasher franchise featured in this universe. It's basically the Friday the 13th franchise within this film. And trust me, you won't realize how accurate that statement is until you watch it. Teenage Sex and Death at Camp MIASMA follows a filmmaker named Chris. She has just been offered the opportunity to revive a slasher franchise containing 12 or 13 films. Obviously, it's the Camp MIASMA franchise I just mentioned. By the way, I am so intrigued by the medieval MIASMA sequel. I wish this franchise were real. Chris's reboot is supposed to be an origin story. She wants to take it back to its roots. That's why she travels out to the middle of nowhere in the cold, hard winter to meet with Camp MIASMA's original final girl, Billy. She's played by Gillian Anderson. Chris hopes Billy will agree to sign on to the project, despite having left the acting industry after that first film. When Chris arrives at Billy's house, she finds it's not a house at all. Billy lives at the original abandoned camp where the movie was filmed. This, as you can imagine, is an amazing setting for this. It's a snowy campground setting in the dead of winter. This movie is actually set around Christmas, as evident by the Christmas tree in Billy's home. The two ladies meet, get to know each other, and even watch the first Camp Miasma together. That's when we, as the viewers, also get to watch much of that movie. Chris is obsessed with the Camp Miasma franchise, even more than Billy, who was the original final girl. And while Chris does have a girlfriend, played by Jasmine Savoy Brown of Scream 5, 6, and 7, her one true love is her work. So much so that it makes her very awkward in other situations, socially, professionally, and even sexually. That last one most of all. What was supposed to be Chris's revival of a slasher franchise also becomes a revival of herself. Due to the harsh, snowy conditions, Chris is stranded at the campground with Billy. The two learn a lot more about each other, and Chris learns a lot more about the truth behind Camp Miasma. The original film was based on actual murders. That's not all, though. There is plenty more to uncover in Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma. And by uncover, I mean in more ways than one. There is so much more I could say about this film, but so much more I won't. Spoiling any of it would do you a great disservice, so I don't want to do that. This movie hooked me immediately. Immediately. I was all in. From the snowy setting to the slasher storyline, this is right up my alley. The theme may not be, as I've already stated, I cannot relate to that, but that's okay, because I love everything else about it. And as I stated, you can draw your own conclusions. Schoenbrun's work offers unique experiences for each viewer. These movies truly are not confined to one message. Even if you're out on the agenda, Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma has plenty to offer for 80s slasher fans. There are awesome kills, lengthy, gratuitous nudity, and maybe one of the best massacre sequences in all of slasher history. I am not exaggerating either. I will never hear A Long December by Counting Crows the same way again. Speaking of which, the movie has a fantastic soundtrack. That's no surprise. I could say the same about I Saw the TV Glow. The music in Schoenbrun's movies really capture the vibe. This film will likely be criticized for not being only a slasher, and that's already happening. But again, I ask, why does it have to be? Why can't it be a slasher and much more? Whatever it is, and however you choose to see it, Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma is an experience. Whether it's the over-the-top, extremely bloody kills, all of the real-life slasher franchise homages, and there are many, this movie is very meta and very self-aware. Could be that lengthy, gratuitous nudity I mentioned, the snowy campground setting, or the atmospheric music, or maybe you do, or someone you know deeply connects to the theme. Whatever it may be, there is something for everyone in Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma. I think I've made it pretty clear. I loved it. From the incredible opening credits to the very last moments, I think Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma is a near masterpiece. Schoenbrun does it again for me. I can't wait for the next one. Have you seen this one? If so, what do you think of it? Comment below and let me know. Until next time, remember, physical media matters. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit that thumbs up and, be kind, subscribe.